So, another day in the bay video. We've covered a lot, kind of paint rectification and show prep and stuff like that. So this time we're going to be talking about winter prep. So we're going to strip this car right back, we're going to take it right back and build up that gloss and protection ready for the winter. We're going to be outside for the first bit. We're going to give it a good deep clean using our Wash Plus and all of our pre-wash products. And then we're going to get it in the bay, rectify the paint, make it look really nice and glossy, then put some real good layers of protection on there. So before we get going, make sure you like, share and subscribe and hit that little notification bell to get notified on when the next Meguiars video comes out. So because we're giving this a deeper clean, we're using all these pre-wash processes before we even touch it with a wash mitt. So we're letting the wheels dwell with the ultimate wheel cleaner, and we've gone around the bottom of the car, the real dirty grimy bits inside the arches with our heavy duty cleaner. This is so we soften up that loose grime, so when we jet wash it off before we snow foam, it means that we're removing all that loose contaminant before we even touch it with a wash mitt. So while Lee's taking off the snow foam, I'm going to explain why we're using our Wash Plus. Now this contains micro polishing agents that are going to give the car a real deep scrub, which means we're going to get all that kind of embedded dirt and grime out of the paint before we get it into the bay and start prepping it for winter. So we've got our two buckets here. Both buckets have plain water in them and a grit guard. Yeah, so you've said you've used the 2-bucket method on your regular wash anyway, so you're pretty versed on what that is and why we do it. Yeah. So we're going to be using our microfiber wash mitt solely because it's going to get a bit grimier and dirtier, and with this you can machine wash it. It's a machine washable wash mitt, so it will last you a bit longer. So for this kind of situation it's perfect. So we're just going to get a ribbon of Wash Plus on there like that. Like I say, it is quite a thick product. And then obviously making sure the panel's wet, which it is because you just rinsed it down. Just going to give it a nice deep scrub. And then once you've done the panel, go into your bucket here, give it a clean out, wash it on the grit guard, back into your clear water here, and then again with the Wash Plus. And then after you've done each panel, give it a rinse down, move on. So I'll do one half the car, you can do the other. Yep. It's all good. So you can see from the surface that the water's staying on the paint, it's not sheeting away or beading away. That's because we have stripped off any kind of coating or wax that's been on there, which is fine. We're planning on doing a paint rectification and protection anyway, so we're not too worried about that. Just shows you that this isn't really a maintenance shampoo. This again is your restart button. So the Wash Plus did a good job of removing a fair bit of contaminant from the paint, but we want to take it that extra step. So when you rub your hand on it, you can still kind of semi-feel it and hear it. So we're going to use the clay to remove that. We're going to get the surface nice and lubricated with a detailer. You're just going to go nice, clean, forward and back kind of straight lines. Now, all you need is fingertip pressure. There's no need to bear down on it at all. So once you've covered an area going one way, just cross hatch it like that. This is just making sure you just get a nice clean coverage on the paint. I avoid circles because it's too random. You know, you could miss areas. This is a nice regimented, systematic way of doing it. Gets it done nice and quick. you did mention before you came here that you wanted to get rid of the swirls. So we're going to show you the most quickest and efficient way of doing that. So for each section, all I'm going to do is 5 little dots. What I'm going to do, you see how you've got these curves on the bonnet? Now what I'm going to do is work up to them, never over them. Keeps it nice and manageable for you, but also these kind of grooves and concaves in the paint is the least amount of paint on the surface. So you don't want to take unnecessary paint off. So we're just going to work up to them, never over them. So I'm going to do this section here. I'm going to stamp out where I want to work, like this. I'm going to set it to the slowest speed, which is 3 on there. I'm just going to spread it. Now the reason we're using Ultimate Compound on your paint is because the chemical cleaners within Ultimate Compound are going to give that red a real brightness. It's going to make it look really nice and slick. But also the mechanical compounds in there are going to remove those scratches and swirls. So we want to do the kind of prep work now because we've already taken off the above surface contaminants. So the stuff that makes the paint feel rough, we've done that. We now want to do the below surface contaminants, scratches and swirls. So just a bit of a reminder of what this detail is all about. The whole goal of this video is to educate on how to prep your car for the winter. So we've given it the deep clean, and we're kind of reviving the paint, removing those light swirls and scratches and bringing back that red before we hit it with some wax protection. So this is not an all-out kind of like show detail or getting the car ready for a show. This is about preparing the paint and getting it protected before winter. So we've revived the paint, we gave it some glossies in the Ultimate Compound and our MT320. So while Lee goes around and just gives it a bit of a detail, so what I like to do is once I've finished compounding, I detail the car down using our quick detailer just to get any kind of leftover residues from the compound off. That's because I want the wax to bond nice and firmly onto the paint. So we're going to be using our finishing disc, our black finishing disc, along with our Gold Class Carnauba wax. So we're using the Gold Class wax because it's a Carnauba based wax. Now this is going to refine the paint after compounding, but also give that red a real brightness. So it's going to give it a nice slick finish, bright finish, and a nice long lasting protection. Because we're not working the surface, we're applying the product. So the previous step, we were working the surface, that's why we reduced our work kind of area. With this, because we're just applying a product, we can do more, if that makes sense. So, cable over my shoulder, I'm going to stamp out the entire bonnet, like this. And all we're going to do is go to 3/8 and do one single pass. And because the machine's going slower, you can move quicker, yeah? And that's it. That's all you need. So you only ever top up the wax when you start seeing gaps. So once you've done the bonnet, obviously, which we have, move on to the next panel. And if you start seeing gaps in the spread, then you apply more wax. Don't think you need to do it for every panel. cure time is very important with wax. It's the only product you let cure on a surface before removing. Anything prior to that, you know, polishing or compounding, you take it straight off. So we've used our finger swipe test to make sure it's clear. That means it's nice and cured. If it's cloudy, you leave it a bit longer. But because we put a fine film of wax on there and we're using our finishing towel, it's nice and easy to remove.
Why do we leave wax on paint? Why do we leave it on there?
It allows it to cure so it bonds to the surface and gives you that protection. So that's another day in the bag done. So the main focus of today was to show you how to easily prep your car, get it nice and protected for winter. So we used our Wash Plus to give it a real deep scrub down, along with our heavy duty multi-purpose cleaner and our snow foam. We then moved on to going into the bay and giving it a clay bar, which removed the above surface contaminants. We moved on to giving the paint a real glossy finish by using our ultimate compound, and then we wiped that down, got it nice and clean, ready for our gold class wax to give it that real long lasting protection. So if you want to see more content like this, make sure you like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to get notified when the next Meguiars video is coming out. Cheers. Happy detailing.